Hi, and welcome to another installment of 5 Minutes with Mark. This is Interim Pastor Vince Marola from Bethany Lutheran Church in Woodhull, Illinois. Three verses tonight, Mark 1:29 to 31. As soon as they left the synagogue, they entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Now, Simon's mother-in-law was in bed with a fever, and they told him about her at once. He came and took her by the hand and lifted her up. Then the fever left her, and she began to serve them. I didn't really think there was as much in these verses as I saw once I lined them up against the other Gospels, because there's something sitting right in the middle that I'm still thinking about and pondering. I mean, we're going from the synagogue to Simon's house, where his mother-in-law is sick. So we're on the Sabbath. Jesus is going to the house of one of the first disciples he called. His mother-in-law is sick, and he healed her. So the first healing in the Gospel of Mark is of a woman. And I think that's significant in some ways because, again, and I said this in the sermon, but it shows Jesus's care for those who can sometimes be put on the margins of society. And definitely in Jesus's time, women were on the margins of society. They were seen as something less than men. And so the fact that Jesus's first healing is of a woman, it sets the stage for Jesus's ministry. And he also healed family of one of his disciples. And I think that might be another piece in this, is this whole idea that the love that Jesus has is a love that extends out through the family and the family of God. But what struck me most about this is when you line it up next to the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of Luke, the same story. In Matthew, he touches her hand and the fever left her and she got up. In Luke, he stood over her. He rebuked the fever and it left her. And then she got up. But I didn't notice this before, but I did now. But in Mark, Jesus came, he took her by the hand, he lifted her up, and then the fever left her, and she began to serve them. Really, in the other two Gospels, what Jesus did was somewhat passive. Yeah, you could say rebuking the fever was maybe a little bit more active. But in this Gospel, it is the physical touch, it is a physical lifting her up. And then the fever left her. Jesus is having that contact, that interaction, that physical interaction with a woman, with someone who's on the fringes of society. And his interaction with her, as I'm reading this and thinking about it, is very different than what we would expect and the people of Jesus's day would suspect. Because as he lifts her up, she's then cured. You know, what I'm wondering is if this is the beginning of a new way of doing ministry for Jesus and for those around him. As he lifts up the downtrodden, the sinners, the outcasts, as he lifts them up, as he boosts them up, they're healed. They know his love. They know his forgiveness. It's a very different way. And let's see if that takes us somewhere. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.